everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you a 6x6 wrapped canvas that I made into an abstract in purple. I have been feeling like I want to play with abstract. I think I have a split personality when it comes to art. Sometimes I want to do little illustraty things and cutesy things and whimsical things, and sometimes I want to do straight up abstract. Sometimes I want to combine the two. I don't know. It's weird. um, Peg and I have been teaching a class, a paid class, and it's about design and developing your style. And I really do wonder if I even have a style because I do so many different things. Um, I get on these tangents and I go this way and I go that way. I'm not sure if I have a style or not. People say I do. It's so hard to see your own style in your own work. Unless it's something that you're doing repetitively over and over and over and over every single time the same thing, you might be able to identify it. But if you're as eclectic as I am, I don't know, it's hard to see. So I decided to start this thing out with some contrast. So I put tape across the canvas in kind of an angled way, and I'm planning on using the printed papers that I made the other day that are all purples, variations of purples. I'm going to use those. So I mixed a little purple with my black gesso. I mixed a little purple with my white gesso. The black gesso I put at the bottom, kind of giving you that 2/3, 1/3 situation. And then the white gesso I applied with a palette knife and made it really rough, a rough application of it across the top. And then before I dried it very much, I just kind of drag this tag. It's a clothing tag, and I am dragging it in the white gesso. The black gesso is dry, and I'm just trying to kind of make that line not so liney. You know, there's a big division in there, and I want contrast, but I also don't want it to be super crazy. And then I didn't dry the white gesso, I just left it, and I started to put some alcohol inks in different colors of purple. This is all the same stuff that I was using when I was doing those gel prints the other day. The purple paint, well, the black and white gesso I didn't use during the gel prints, but these different alcohol inks. Like I said, I never used the white one. Okay, so it's not all the same things, but it's an idea of the same stuff. And I was just letting it drip, spritzing it with a little bit of 91% rubbing alcohol, and then just I don't know, letting it smush around because that top part of the gesso has some texture in it because I applied it with a palette knife instead of a brush. It's not smooth. So then I gave that a good dry. Obviously I cut out the heat tool portion of the event most of the time. And I started to think about my collage elements and what I was going to do. And I decided to just use that little tag that, that I was smushing the paint with because why not? It's got the right color on it. It's black and it's got that lighter white on it, and it will be very textural because it's thick. It's thick paper, so it'll stand out from the canvas. I also thought maybe for texture I'd use a little bit of this paper that I made the other day that is with molding paste through a stencil. I made just some different ones, and I made it on rice paper so that I could apply it as collage but still get texture. So I created textured papers in order to be able to use them later. And then, of course, I have this big pile of different purple painted or gel printed paper. And I'm just getting little pieces of it. Sometimes I cut it out. Sometimes I tear it. Sometimes I do both. Who knows? I'm just starting to layer stuff on there. Seeing what I think it looks like. I originally thought I was going to have the black portion of the canvas downwards, but then, you know, at the bottom, like a grounding element, but then I changed my mind and went sideways because I thought it was cooler. For me, abstract does involve composition, and I am somewhat thinking about it, and this is definitely a cruciform or a cross composition. Probably ends up being my favorite one when I do abstract, and I often do it, but um, I'm not overthinking it. It's an intuitive process for me. I'm thinking about light and shadow, thinking about contrast, thinking about movement, and all these things are in my head, and I'm learning them. I'm thinking about them. I'm conscious of them, but I'm also intuitive at the same time. So if I think something looks good somewhere, I just stick it down, and then if I don't like it, I put it down. If I don't like it, I move it to somewhere else. Maybe I don't even want that piece. I throw it in the pile. And this to me is the most fun that you can have with art. I love doing this. I love it. And maybe this is just all I should do. I don't know. But then sometimes I want to do other stuff. So also I have an active art channel that has a lot of people who want to see a lot of different things. So I can't always make it the same. But that I guess does drive some of my eclectic sense of art is that I'm making videos, so I need to do something different. Don't always get to do exactly what I want. In fact, I rarely get to do exactly what I want. But this week, or is it all one week? No, I guess yeah, this week, if you want to look at it that way, I did purple. I made purple prints, and then I made purple abstract. So those are things that I wanted to do. Those are things that made me happy. So after I've got my stuff glued down, I guess you guys probably noticed I took a photo. I laid my beginning collage composition on there and then took a photo so that I would remember what it looked like because I was happy with it, so that I could refer back to the photo on my phone if I can't remember after I dumped them all off, if I can't remember where I put them. Then the next thing that I started in with is these little letters. These are black text weight paper. So I have these die cut things, right? And it has the whole alphabet. And maybe I just want, well, always, I just want a few letters. I don't want them all, but the only way you can do it is to cut them all. That's the easiest way. So I just dump them in a cup, one of these little empty yogurt cups, and I use them as graphic elements. I'm not thinking about what letters I'm putting down, doesn't matter. We're not looking at the letters, we're looking at the clusters and the way that they fall down kind of diagonally, the opposite of that other diagonal. So it's kind of making an X. See, in the composition, there's kind of like an X. And then I also put that other piece on that I cut out that has an X or a cross on it too. So the whole composition is kind of an X or a cross, depending on how you look at it. Then I've got other elements that are repeating that form and function. So, yes, it's intuitive. It's also you can learn to do this. Of course, it will never look the same when you do it as I do it because we're all different and our brains are all different. And that's the way it should be. So then on the edge of one of the prints, I just cut these really skinny pieces of black paper over the excess paper on the print, and I glued them down, again, repeating that diagonally kind of wonky X or cross formation. Now that's the fourth time I've repeated it. And I've also got this mid-tone piece going all the way across in the 1/3, 2/3 area. You know, that's always something that makes people happy to look at. So it grounds it, it divides it, and it's not part of that whole X thing. It's just, well, it kind of is. But you know what I'm saying. I can explain it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll understand. Um, yeah, maybe I don't even understand. So then I just needed a few other pieces, and I wanted to use the rice paper ones, and I wanted to try to make them a little bit more translucent. So I pulled out some fluid matte medium. I was using a gel matte medium, but then I pulled out some fluid matte medium. I also just wanted to put a few more pieces of this red purple color around in different places because it seemed like the only place that you saw it was in that Hershey shaped thing, Hershey's Kiss shaped thing. It's probably a red velvet Hershey's Kiss. I don't know. But it was bugging me the whole time, and it still kind of does bug me. I should have torn it instead of cutting it because I don't like the strong line that it makes there. That bugs me. So I work on it a bit later. So after I've got all my collage on and I'm happy with it, I, of course, dry it. Then I get some acrylic ink. I end up using 3 of the colors of acrylic ink. One of them is a real a red-violet color. I let it drip down. I let it go in and amongst that textured area. There's also a textured area up in the upper left corner where I use the heat tool to bubble the paint and make it kind of bumpy to give a little texture to. Plus that white gesso had quite a bit of texture when I applied it with the palette knife. So then I used this deep royal purple and I just went around in a circle around that that thing that I had cut out of the print. I wanted it to be less, I wanted the lines to be less. And then I did a few drops with some white because I do need light and I always end up kind of covering up my light colors when I do this. So I also wanted to kind of highlight that other weird textury area up in the left hand corner. So I put some white acrylic ink on there. And then I'm really giving everything a good dry. Because I'm going to do mark making next. And if I decide to use a pen, I don't want to get any matte medium or ink or anything in my pen and ruin it. So here's where I'm working on that really harsh line. I just put a drop of that red violet ink and I've got a water brush and I'm just trying to kind of blend out and make less obvious that very harsh line around that Hershey Kiss thing. Blending it out and then blending that color out throughout and letting it be watery because I like the way that looks. And I think the last thing, oh, then I do some marks. This is a white China marker, so it's like a waxy crayon type mark, and I'm adding that to my circly crossy thing. I think it's from a map stencil, and I think it's supposed to be a roundabout on the map. And then some black Stabilo pencil that I blended a little bit with a water brush. And I did put some white splatter with my Posca pen. I just flicked it and made some white splatter. So that is the end of what I do with my purple abstract 6x6 canvas. Super happy with it. I like the way it looks. It's purple and it's abstract and I'm happy. So if you did enjoy this, of course, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, subscribe. Those things that you're doing when you're interacting with my channel help me out by letting the YouTube algorithm think that people are interacting with me, which is what's good and what helps my channel grow. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.